What's up, y'all? I'm out with a new video. So today is actually not going to be Zelda gameplay, but rather a Zelda discussion. So if you're not a Zelda fan, you're probably not going to care for this video because you'll probably find it boring. So like my title says, I'll be going over 5 Zelda characters who don't get enough credit. And what I mean by that is that there are like so many Zelda characters throughout the Zelda series who've done amazing and incredible things, and they already hardly ever get talked about or noticed, and they don't get enough credit. So yeah, I'm going over 5 of those characters today. Let's get into it. Number 1. Okay, so the first Zelda character we'll be talking about is one of Link's many companions throughout the Zelda series, Lineback the Sailor from Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. I mean, there's really not too much to say about him other than the things that we already know, but I will go over some basic things that makes him number 5 on my list. So yes, I know, the guy's ugly, he's selfish, and who knows when was the last time he did something good for someone other than himself. But put all that aside and take a minute to think about him, you'll find he's very essential to the lore and gameplay of Phantom Hourglass. Lineback takes you all around the ocean during the game, from islands to ships to, well, everywhere. He's even there close to the climax of the game during the final boss battle with Bellum. Sure, he didn't do it just because he had the overwhelming urge to help someone. Lineback still stuck with you until the end of the game, which is what counts. Also, I am aware that Lineback has an island named after him in Breath of the Wild, and honestly, when I first saw it, I was going to cross Lineback off of this list. But I also saw that there were many other islands and specific places referencing different characters that no one cares about. And like most of those places, Lineback Island had nothing. So, like I said earlier, not much to say about Lineback, but he was an important character that deserves a little more recognition. Number 2. Now it's time for everyone's favorite Skyward Sword NPC, Groose. Yes, I said Groose. Is this whole list just gonna be me naming off jerks from the Zelda series? No it isn't, I promise. This is the last one. So, there are many Zelda characters worthy of being on this list, so why Groose of all people? Well, here's why. So, during the very beginning of Skyward Sword, Groose is a bully who talks down to you, stashes your loftwing in a cave, cheats during a contest, and on top of that tries to, quote-unquote, get alone time with Zelda. Dream on, Groose, she's mine. Though Groose starts off as a bully, he's not always that way, as after he descends with you below the clouds, he begins to lighten up a bit and slowly begins to open up to Link rather than bully him. That was a hilarious cutscene when him and Link fell, by the way. Oh yeah, and he comes up with the bright idea that he should name the ground below Grooseland. Yeah, I know. I was glad it was changed to Hyrule also. Groose eventually realized while he's down there that he isn't the one to save Zelda, but that didn't mean he couldn't help, as when you fight the Imprisoned for the 2nd and 3rd time, Groose helps in the fight with his handy new weapon, the Groosenator. The design is totally original and definitely looks nothing like a catapult. And come on, Groose, does everything have to be named after you? Anyway, all jokes aside, you'll find that the Groosenator is a very useful weapon. For those of you who don't know, its purpose is to launch bomb flowers at the Imprisoned when it escapes the seal. In the fight between Link and the Imprisoned can fly. And once it gets too high for Link's sword and Groose runs out of bomb arrows, the Groosenator is used to launch Link onto the Imprisoned so that Link can strike the seal into its head and restore the seal once again. On a side note, once Demise has risen, he uses the Force to send Zelda flying. Fortunately for her, Groose was there to save her from a potential very long time in the hospital. I'm joking about the whole Force thing, of course, but saving Zelda's life isn't anything to take lightly. No, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you give some thought, you'll see he played a very important role in Skyward Sword. Number 3. Moving on to number 3, and since we're already on the topic of Skyward Sword, let's stay there. So, I know there was a lot of criticism about Skyward Sword. People hated the energy gauge, the motion controls. People thought it was getting a little repetitive, going to the same 3 worlds over and over and over. And another one of the biggest criticisms about Skyward Sword was Link's companion, Fi. Mostly because she's calling you every literal second. Since Fi has a generally annoying presence, she normally isn't credited for much. Guys, I understand your frustration, but you really can't talk about annoying until you've played with Navi. And if you have already, I don't want to hear about Fi being annoying. Fi is nothing on the annoying scale compared to this.
Hey!
When you think about it, you really can't have Skyward Sword without Fi. If it wasn't for her, Link would have never drawn the Goddess Sword. She helped you with dowsing for Zelda as well as loads of other items. She even gives you hints when you can't figure out a puzzle. If you look at Fi from that perspective, she's not just the annoying blue, whatever she is, and you should show her a little bit more respect, just as she did. I know what you're thinking. Wait, Fi respected me? Well, no, not at the beginning of the game. At that time, Fi may as well just be a robot, and she's just helping you because she was ordered to. But we see at the end of Skyward Sword, before Fi leaves for her eternal slumber in the Master Sword, that she had become attached to Link over the course of their adventure. No, not romantically, but as if they were friends. Fi was so incredibly useful throughout Skyward Sword, and people just complained about how often she calls you, or how easy she made the game. But would you rather have played the game without her? Probably not. So that is what makes Fi number 3 on my list of the 5 Zelda characters who don't get enough credit. Number 4. For number 4, we have the Zoran champion from Breath of the Wild, Meifa. Okay, everybody, let's be honest. Who cares about Meifa? She's not cool like Link or any of the other champions. Well, think about it for a second. I bet you're not hating on Meifa when a silver Lionel knocks you to the other side of Hyrule with a flame attack. Yeah, you're thankful for Meifa then. But not only that, like you all know, she is one of the technically 5 champions, and without her divine beast Varuda, you couldn't defeat Ganon. I mean, you could, but lore-wise, you couldn't. She does seem to be much help, actually, even before the Great Calamity, as in a memory we can see her healing Link after he's been bruised in a battle. And for what she says, I'm sure that's not the only time she's healed him. We also see in Memory 15, Return of Calamity Ganon, when Zelda comes down from Mount Lanayru, that Zelda still had yet to awaken her powers. And everyone said their fair share of encouraging words, except for Rivali, of course. But what was interesting to me was what Meifa said.
Well, I'm not sure how to put this into words. I'm actually quite embarrassed to say it. But I was thinking about what I do when I'm healing. You know, what usually goes through my mind. It helps when I think about...
So no, Meifa didn't get to finish her sentence because of the whole Calamity Ganon thing, but my point to this is that Meifa was willing to tell a deep and apparently embarrassing secret that chances are not even her father knew about, just so Zelda could unlock her powers. And this just goes to show how devoted Meifa is to her home and protecting it. And yeah, that's all I gotta see from Meifa, so let's move on. Number 5. So who is the final person on my list? So far we've covered Lineback, Groose, Fi, and even Meifa. But who made number 1? Well, let's give away some hints. He's a recurring character in the Zelda series, 3 games to be specific. He's also a deity and a dungeon. At this point, you guys should all know who I'm talking about unless you don't keep up with the Zelda games. That's right, I'm talking about the forest deity, the Great Deku Tree. You would think that a person or tree like this would actually see a little bit more notation. But actually, no. Now, why is the Great Deku Tree first? Well, not because he's least noted, but because he, in my opinion, is way more significant than anyone else on this list, though he had a tough time competing with Fi. But take a moment and think about the Deku Tree. Would the Zelda series be the same without him? Would Ocarina of Time Link ever become a hero? Probably not. Which means the whole Zelda timeline wouldn't exist. Ocarina of Time would have just been time, as in too much time passing by without a hero. There would be no adult, child, or fallen hero timeline. Well, I guess there would be a child, but it wouldn't be the same. The Great Deku Tree raised Link like he was his child. And I thought wolves raising humans was crazy. But let's not only look at Ocarina of Time Deku Tree, but Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild as well. In Wind Waker, his deeds aren't as significant, but he still plays an important role. Now, I have yet to beat Wind Waker, but I'm in Ganon's Tower, and I'm pretty sure the tree isn't doing much more. The Great Deku Tree granted you the Deku Leaf, which is a pretty important item throughout the game. Oh, and don't forget the Goddess Pearl. And for Breath of the Wild Deku Tree, I mean, he hasn't done anything, right? No. Wrong. Zelda entrusted the Great Deku Tree with the task of guarding the Master Sword for 100 years. 100 years, guys. That's crazy. And I know what you're thinking. Couldn't Zelda have just given it to any other person? Well, technically, yes, she could have given it to, like, Impa and left it under the protection of the Sheikah. Only problem is, the Sheikah, or anyone else, aren't hard to locate. There are even signs that tell you where Kakariko Village is, and not even my great-grandfather knows the last time Impa fought. The Master Sword could have easily been taken if it was given to anyone else, or maybe even broken. The Master Sword? Broken? Yeah. We've seen the Master Sword in its worst state during Breath of the Wild. It even appears to have rusted pieces of metal chipped off on the side. If the Master Sword wasn't entrusted to the Deku Tree and hidden in Korok Forest, it could have been destroyed by Ganon. And, I mean, if the Deku Tree wasn't there, you're not going to give the sword to the Koroks. That would be a little irresponsible, don't you think? The point I'm making here is that the Deku Tree, well, actually all the characters on this list have done pretty amazing things, and they deserve to be credited for more. Hope y'all liked the video. I thought it was okay for my first Zelda discussion. I wasn't going to put it out yet, but somebody kept harassing me and telling me to post the video every single day. You know who you are. And so I posted it. It was fine. So if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like. If not, tell me why in the comments below. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this one. Yeah. Peace out.